Everyone says that staying off social media means peace. But what if silence isn't peace, it's emptiness? We live in a time where not posting is seen as strength, maturity, or mystery. You know the phrase, real happiness doesn't need to be shown. But what if that quiet, that decision to vanish, isn't confidence, it's disconnection? I'll show you the side of being low profile that nobody talks about, the one that hides not peace, but a slow emotional numbness that eats you from the inside out. Because behind every "I don't need to post," there's often a voice whispering, "I don't matter enough to be seen." And the scary part? Most people don't even notice when that starts happening. In this video, you'll understand what truly happens inside the mind of those who retreat into silence, why they stop posting, stop sharing, stop showing up, and how that quiet begins to feel like a cage. But stay until the end, because only there, when everything connects, you'll see why the absence of a post can reveal more about someone's loneliness than 1,000 photos ever could. At first, the decision to stop posting feels powerful. You tell yourself you're above the noise, no need for likes, no need for validation. You say, "I'm doing this for me." And for a while, it actually feels like freedom. But slowly, something shifts. That freedom starts turning into isolation. The silence that once felt peaceful begins to echo. You open the app, scroll for a second, then close it, convincing yourself that everyone else is fake, while secretly wondering if they've forgotten you. That's the first trap of the low-profile mindset, mistaking withdrawal for strength. Because sometimes, disappearing isn't self-control, it's self-erasure. People don't realize how subtle it is. You skip one photo, then another. You tell yourself you're not in the mood. Weeks pass, and now the idea of posting feels strange, almost embarrassing. You've convinced yourself that staying quiet gives you dignity, when in truth, it's slowly stealing your presence. And the worst part? The world keeps moving. While you protect yourself from judgment, others keep sharing, connecting, being seen. You're safe, but invisible. But almost no one notices the next step. That silence, once a choice, starts to become a wall. What began as "I just need some space" slowly turns into "I don't want anyone to see me." And behind that sentence hides something bigger: fear. Fear of judgment, of comparison, of not being enough. Many people think they're escaping pressure by staying off the grid, but sometimes what they're really escaping is themselves. Every post they don't make becomes a quiet apology for existing. Every silence says, "Maybe what I have to say isn't worth sharing." If this has ever happened to you, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. We all build invisible walls to protect what's fragile inside. The problem is when the walls become the house we live in. And that's the hidden cost of being too low profile. You stop being part of the world. You stop being seen, yes, but worse, you stop seeing yourself reflected anywhere. You call it peace. But what if it's actually numbness disguised as calm? But there's one part almost no one talks about. The deeper you stay in silence, the more your mind starts to rewrite the story of who you are. You stop seeing yourself through others' eyes, and at first, that feels liberating. But then, without feedback, without reflection, the sense of self begins to fade. You don't just stop posting photos, you stop recognizing the person in them. Being low profile becomes a shield against rejection. If nobody sees you, nobody can hurt you. But that protection has a price: invisibility. The same wall that keeps you safe also blocks out connection, warmth, validation, the basic things that make us feel alive. Here's the hard truth: staying away from the world doesn't make you stronger. It just makes your absence easier to ignore. And soon, the silence stops being a choice. It becomes your identity. You become the one who never posts, the quiet one, the mystery. But inside, it's not mystery, it's emptiness. A kind of quiet sadness that grows in the dark corners of your unspoken thoughts. So what does all of this mean? That sometimes, the quietest people are the ones screaming the loudest inside. That not posting isn't always a sign of strength. Sometimes it's a quiet surrender. But the truth is, the goal was never to post for others. It's to stay visible to yourself. To remember that your story, your voice, your existence deserve space even if no one claps for it. You don't need to turn your life into a highlight reel, but you also don't need to erase yourself to feel at peace. The middle ground is where real self-respect lives, not in silence, not in noise, but in expression. If this spoke to you, maybe it's time to rethink what low profile really means. It's not hiding, it's choosing when and how to be seen without disappearing. Because the truth is, peace doesn't mean absence. Peace means presence, without fear. If reflections like this help you understand yourself better, subscribe, not for me, but for you. So you don't forget that sometimes, all you need is to show up. Because in the end, the real emptiness isn't in not posting. It's in forgetting that you still exist, even when no one is watching.